Just out of curiosity, how many of you here are former fat kids? Oh, okay. I'm a former fat kid. And today, I'm proud to say that I love being a former fat kid. Because being that once chubby and awkward girl has enabled me to become the strong and confident person I am today. Now, I wasn't huge, nor was I morbidly obese, but I did have a lot of meat on my bones. See for yourself. Now, as a kid, I was very happy and extremely playful. My physical appearance is not something that would bother me, yet alone cross my mind. In fact, the first time I realized I was fat was when I was 10 years old. I was sitting in a changing room when two girls were giggling and pointing at my stomach. I didn't know what they were laughing at, so I looked down. I looked down and saw 3 juicy rolls of fat sitting on my lap. I was horrified. And for the first time, I was ashamed of being myself. So when I was 11 years old, I started wearing as much baggy clothing as possible. I even had this specific baggy t-shirt that I would wear to swim in attempts to hide my muffin top, which didn't help. And when I was 12 years old, we lived in Switzerland. So one summer break, we came to visit Kenya. And during our stay here, none of my relatives or close family friends failed to tell me, "Umeka kubwa," which means you've grown big. Now, although they didn't mean to hurt me, I started associating the word fat with ugly. And when I was 13 years old, not only did I despise swimming, but I also hated shopping for clothing because of the numerous emotional breakdowns I would have because none of the cute clothes would fit. I was forced to get the slim fit jeans as opposed to the skinny jeans. And for those who don't know, the slim fit jeans are anything but slim. They're like parachutes. So my 13-year-old self was fed up. So when I was 13, I decided to go on a diet. And when I was 14, I lost 10 kilos. Those are pictures of me when I was 15. Now, in these pictures, you no longer see the fat kid. But what you also do not see are the rolls of fat and thunder thighs that insulated my mind. You see, I was still that fat kid on the inside. When I was 15, whenever people would stare at me, I would still see those 2 girls laughing and pointing at my stomach. When I was 15, I was still very sensitive to any comments anyone would make about my physical appearance. When I was 15, I still despised swimming and shopping. When I was 15, I was still that fat kid, mentally. Now, I love being a former fat kid because from a very young age, I realized that if you don't accept yourself, you never will, no matter how much weight you lose, how much makeup you put on, how you do your hair. If you don't accept your flaws, you never will. You see, I used to think that if I lost weight, the grass would be greener. I would be happier, I'd have more friends, I'd have boys flocking at me. But when I lost weight, and I was still unhappy, and my hotline was still not blinging, I realized that that's not the case. I still had that mental fatness. And by mental fatness, I mean that I still felt like I was fat. I was still associating the word fat with ugly. I still felt like I was inadequate. And I still let any comments that anyone would make affect me negatively. But you see, the thing is, losing that mental fatness is a lot harder than losing the physical fatness. To lose that physical fatness, you go to the gym, you eat salads and berries. But to lose that mental fatness, you have to change your mentality. And for the longest time, I used to bully myself. I was my own worst enemy. I had convinced myself that I was ugly and disgusting, and that I was incapable of experiencing certain things such as love and happiness. I had convinced myself that everyone around me thought negatively of me. And whenever someone would compliment me, I convinced myself that there was some kind of hidden meaning or insult behind the compliment. So I said enough is enough. One night before I stepped into the shower, I did something which I usually avoided, which was looking in the mirror. I stood naked in front of the mirror, and for the first time, I really saw myself. When I was 8 years old, my mom gave me this task, which was to look in the mirror and list 3 things that I loved about myself. But my 8-year-old self was too busy with other things, such as fangirling over Zac Efron, so I didn't pay much attention to the task at the time. But on this particular night, I stood in front of the mirror and listed not 3, but 10 things I liked about myself. I would repeat this every night, and I still do this to this day, by the way. Now, next on my list was trying to change that mentality. And here's the thing, when you're a fat kid, I feel like you always carry a bit of that fat kid with you throughout your life. So I decided to play my strengths. I'm an artist, and I love to act and perform. So I joined the art club, and as well as joined school plays and performed several school skits. Over time, I started to feel better about myself. Now, I love being a former fat kid because I not only learned that self-acceptance and love starts from within, but I also learned that you have to bring something else apart from looks to the table. You see, when I was 12 years old, I had a crush on this guy. He was good at math, and he was the fastest runner in the year, so he was basically the whole package. But unfortunately, the feeling wasn't mutual. You see, he liked this girl who looked like a 12-year-old version of Megan Fox. My 12-year-old self was jealous and baffled as to how someone could be that attractive at 12 years old. But I was determined to get my man. So I came up with an action plan. I realized that looks weren't my strong suit at the time, so I decided to find other ways. The guy was athletic, so I joined the track team, which was death. I also tried being more outgoing and tried cracking jokes. Now, although I didn't get the guy in the end, we did become good friends. And although these actions were motivated by a crush, without realizing it, I worked on myself as a person. When I joined the track team, I worked on my physical health and also made a few other friends. When I tried being more outgoing, I gained confidence and felt more comfortable with myself. And as for the cracking jokes, well, I guess I improved my social skills. Now, I love being a former fat kid because through those struggles and experiences, I am now the strong and confident person I am today. Thank you.